Hi guys. Hi guys. So as I said, I'm Chrissy Morgan, and today I'm going to be talking about breaking the bodyguards, tech-enabled crime. So, firstly, I'm going to be going into just a high-level overview because we've only got 15 minutes here. The investigation that I've been taking into the close protection industry. I'm going to be going about my background, why it is I do what I do, and some of the people that are involved in the industry. The tech that could actually be used against them. The plan that I came up with to use this tech against them. And always have a plan B, right? And then finally, the results. So, my background. 2002, I've started off as a help desk analyst, worked in many sectors. Somehow in 2010, got headhunted to be a close protection bodyguard. I was working in that area for around a few years, and then I was like, okay, this is getting slightly annoying now. I was seeing PERSEC and OPSEC failures on a daily basis, and it got to a point where I was like, I need to do something about this, but I'm not educated enough. So what I did, I went to uni. That worked out quite well. I've just graduated with a master's. I've won a couple of big CTFs and Black Hat Challenge coins, so I think I'm on the right track. What I'm trying to do today is kind of be in a position within the industry of actually making a difference and making a change. So at the moment I'm a DPO, and that kind of gives me a little bit of a freedom to implement some changes. So who needs our help? We have the close protection officers. The layer above that is the private security companies that employ them, and the high net worth families that employ them. So if we start off with the close protection officers, on a regular basis, like I said before, I'd be seeing lots of different problems on the ground. One of the problems we have today is still PERSEC, the personal security, mainly the online social media profiles. I've got CPs on my Facebook, and I see them checking in and posting photos. If anything, they think that they were the client, they're living this luxury life. That's not everyone that does that, but obviously the people out there that do this is a threat to our clients. Because we have quite a lot of guys from a military armed forces background, they've actually been working with people during the training for terrorism purposes, just to make sure that they're locking down their profiles. And I've actually seen a difference in how people are actually improving now with this kind of thing. Routines. So having worked from the ground upwards, I've worked in national infrastructure sites all the way up to escorting royalty. There are routines within the day-to-day job of what you do. There is a thing called the circuit, which is the London circuit. It's comprised of around 200, 250 guys that work, and it's very much the client dictates what you do on a daily basis. However, there's going to always be the same places that they're going to go to, similar times of the year, and then when the guys are off duty, they have their own little hangouts. I mean, if anything, the Michael McIntyre event that's just happened with him getting robbed, that was basically down to routine. School run, they've seen him. He was actually outside the car getting attacked, and his like watch taken off him. Because I know the routines, you know, someone else could do as well. The bad guys, it isn't that hard to figure out. Lack of awareness. So it isn't that they don't know about cyber, it's just they don't know how to practically apply it to their own personal devices. I think some of them can have issues there, so they need some help with regards to how does it practically apply to them on the ground. Okay, so we have the private security companies. Once again, lack of cyber awareness, sometimes a little bit of ignorance as well, because they actually do have the same threat models and the threat life cycle as us in a way, so they can understand and realise the problems that might face in online as well as offline. However, sometimes with them, they have no time for tech as well. So when you have no time for tech, there's a lack of investment and a lack of knowledge. You end up having a bit of a culture where there's a bit of a problem. So the next one up the chain is the high net worth clients. They're the guys who give us the work. To put into perspective, there's around 4,000 high net worth families in America alone. You've also got the UK and Europe and Asia, which are a growing market. With these guys, it's a case of you have around 10 to 12 people working within these family offices. They're They have the net worth of a big corporate organisation, but they don't have the same governance and structure. Therefore, problems can arise with privileges. Because it's a small team, a lot of people have access to stuff that they really shouldn't have. When the people who are working for them, the PAs on a daily basis, they're also dealing with external vendors. Now, these external vendors can be boutique businesses. You've got your like tennis instructors, riding instructors, very small boutique shops, and they won't have the cybersecurity in place to help protect them. So once again, it's a risk to us. Anonymisation issues. So old school families, they've done really well over the years, protecting themselves, keeping a very low profile. A lot of high net worth will try and veer back from the social media because they know it would be a problem. However, with OSINT, it's advancing the way it is. There's also there's marketing platforms out there who will identify high net worth individuals. So if a marketing person can go ahead and do that, what's to say that organised crime units aren't using the same tech to be able to identify these guys? And also, it's a fast-paced environment. Like literally every single day, it's something different. You can be in Paris one day and Australia the next. That doesn't give you much time to work with the devices, work with the people. And a lot of the time, it's a case of you're weighing up the security with the efficiency of the service and how the family office run. So, the tech. Now, I'm showing some tech here. When I looked into things, I wanted to be able to demonstrate to the guys some really quick and dirty methods of being able to get things done. Very basic stuff that you can pick up online, you can learn in a matter of weeks, and then actually use it to exploit them. So, we've got the Hack RF1 here. So with this, we can intercept alarms. We can play replay attacks on them, like garages and stuff like that. It can do a manner of things. That's quite cheap to buy. On top of that, you've also got jammers, which can also affect 3G and 4G technologies. Imagine if you're on a job and all of a sudden your phones go down and then something else happens. These guys are built to protect from the physical. They're not built and trained to protect from the cyber. So things like that can really mess them up on ops. Next thing, Proxmark. In a hotel scenario, we have a lot of clients that come over at certain times of the year and they'll hire out a whole hotel suite, the whole floor. You'll have RST guys outside the doors or on the actual wing. What can happen is that you can actually walk past them or come near them, catch them in the lift. They will have a number of cards on them for different doors for the wing. That's easily done, unfortunately. If we were to get into a room, we could always use like a bash bunny, which, is standard. We can get the creds. We might not even need to go that far. Set up a Wi-Fi pineapple, get the team to join the network. It's game over. If we've got the itinerary and the agenda, unfortunately for these people, it's going to be game over like Index. So one of the ones I found was quite interesting was the Yale Grade 2 consumer device. So there's a grading system with some of the home alarm systems and such. Grade 1 being the lowest and Grade 4 being the highest. In the UK, it's normally around 2s being the highest. Now with this, with the RF cap, what you can do is you can intercept the signals and block them. However, it doesn't always have the security mechanism built in to actually prevent, to let us know that that's actually happened, which is a massive problem. On top of that, you can use stuff like Hack RF that can actually do the replay attack, so we could get hold of the same sort of frequencies for the key fob. And also one of the Yale alarm systems, you can actually malform the packets. The problem is when you do that and you send it to the system itself, it just hangs and that's it. It doesn't do anything. The sensors don't work anymore. You have to physically reset the machine in order to do anything to put it back on. Okay, so myself and Sharks, we went to a hotel one weekend to get a bit hands-on. I wanted to understand the background technologies with some of this stuff, so I went into a hotel, pretty much ripped it apart, had a little look at some of the tech. We had some good downtime looking at the hardware. I wanted to find out more about RFID. So what I did, pretty much I made my own little RFID reader. I didn't have a Proxmark at the time, so this was the best way of learning the technology myself. There's some really good stuff online. Major Malfunction does some really good stuff, blogs and everything. One of the things I wanted to do though is make it a little bit different from just understanding the technology. I wanted to improve it or use it in a different way. So what I did is I came up with purse pawnage. So, so us guys on the ground, we're taught to look for people who have like messenger style bags, you know, big clothing, bulky stuff. And with the boss mark, I don't know if anyone knows about that, you have a reader, and it's about this big, and it fits into a messenger style bag. That's this little brother right there. It hasn't got the same sort of range, but in a sense, it does exactly the same job. I can fit that into a purse. So if I walk up to one of the guys, whether it be on duty or off duty, RST, they're not going to expect some chick with a purse to be doing something, unfortunately. So what I've actually done with the reader itself, so now I've put the RFID tool that's by Corey Harding, really nice little bit of kit. It can actually send the data wirelessly to my own access point, and so I don't actually need to be anywhere near them. I can just put this somewhere, it will send everything to me, and you know, we've got their cards and whatever. So the plan, okay, so submitting my talk, had a great plan of action. In my head, it was like a Nicolas Cage movie. We were going to be hacking cars, getting into buildings, subverting everyone, you know, it was going to be great. And we got there. However, I had to do things within legal remits. So I had to set it up in such a way. So the plan was to do it with a training company. They would probably have about 12 guys who were fresh out of the army or wherever, going into a training situation. They'd learn all the drills of how to be a close protection officer. It was an ideal opportunity to get them before they were operational and teaching them about cyber. Unfortunately, training got cancelled. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? However, a couple of Googles later, and I found out there was a Bodyguard conference. So, always have a plan B, right? It came with its own set of problems. Unfortunately for me, it was actually hosted in a military hotel. At the front, there's 4 Gurkhas. You don't mess around with Gurkhas, okay? And how do you work in that sort of environment? It's a conference, you've got the most suspicious people in the world in this one room, and basically I was walking into the lion's den. So I had to get my thinking hat on and think about what I was going to do and how I was still going to get some data for today to be able to show you and actually continue my investigation and research. So what did I do? Set up a website, got some USBs, made some nice t-shirts so I looked totally legit. So we ended up actually managing getting a stand. 4 days before the con started, they said, yeah, you can have a stand, that's fine, because I've been hammering them trying to find out if I could get one. We had a really nice setup. We actually had the Wi-Fi pineapple set up and working with an access point showing people. We had the Bash Bunny on the table. I had an iPad. So we were just stood there talking to them, and you know, in a sense, it was a phony company. We could have been bad guys, you know, they didn't know me. So it's a case of, what can we do? So what I did, set up a website. It collected their personal information, contact details. I actually even asked on the website form, what's your biggest fear with cybersecurity? A lot of the guys actually said about Wi-Fi attacks. Once we showed them, and they had never seen this before, a lot of them, they were like, yeah, that's the one. So we got the details, got some USBs. Once again, I had to be quite legal with things, so I could have been nasty, but it's a proof of concept. If these guys are taking the USBs off me and they're actually using them at home or wherever in the workplace, it's showing that they haven't got that mindset. So I put a PDF on and also some link trackers as well, so I could see what the data was. On the day, absolutely fine. It was quite good. That was our view from our table. So the response, we had 10% actually plug in the USBs. So I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing yet. 21% are actually giving me their details. And then what I've done is I've actually looked into them. So this is a small sample set of what I did. So I did some OSINT on them. Some of the worst parts, I guess, was we had some guys who were on Have I Been Pawned. Obviously, you know yourself, you go on there, you can get to the data dumps, there might be passwords available, we can get into their accounts. They've got phone numbers on LinkedIn. Most of the guys have got good OBSEC. They haven't actually, put too much online, but there were traits that could be used that were publicly available. You could then social engineer them in either an email, because I've got all their details, and go from there. So what's next? I'm actually going to red team some guys in September on a training course, which will be fun. So we're actually going to be using the technology and showing the guys as well. We're setting up a cyber awareness program specifically for CPs, so they know what they're doing. I just want to drive awareness to these guys, because they're our front line at the end of the day when it comes to anything like nefarious, terrorism, all the rest of it. These boys need to know what they're doing. And also going to do some further research within the tech and go from there, really. So, any questions? No? Good?